Hi guys. Today we're going to talk about square roots and cube roots. Some of you may already know this stuff and some of you don't. If you think you already know it, please don't stop the video. Keep watching. I might introduce something new to you. What we have to talk about first is I have to make sure you understand exponents. Exponents, you should have learned these last year when you were 12, should have learned exponents, but I'm going to give a quick review just in case. Exponents look like this. This little number right here, this is the exponent. This is 4 squared. This is 4 cubed. This is 4 to the 4th. This is 4 to the 5th. And it goes on and on and on. 4 to the 386th you could do. 4 squared means 4 times 4. 4 cubed means 4 times 4 times 4. 4 to the 4th means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. 4 to the 5th means 4 times 4 times 4 times 4 times 4. So 4 squared is 16. 4 cubed is 64. And then we'd have to do the math for, because I can't do 64 times 4 in my head, and that, or I should be able to. Anyway, I'm just not going to spend that time. But why is it that 4 squared, why is it called squared? That's because if we have a square, and let's say this side is 4 centimeters, and this side is 4 centimeters, we can find the surface area of this square by what? Multiplying length times width. 4 times 4. And the same thing with a cube. Well, what does a cube look like? A cube looks like this. Right? And it's all the same. 4, we have width, length, and height are all the same on a cube. 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters, 4 centimeters. This is a cube. And we can multiply length times width times height, and we can get, or sorry, I went the wrong way, length times width times height, and we can get the volume inside. That's why when it's got a 2, it's called squared. And why when it's got a 3, it's called cubed. Because here we're talking about a square and we're talking about a cube. Okay, so square roots. A square root is x times x equals your square root. This is the square root sign. So we can't do x times y. That doesn't work. That is not a square root. What, Mrs. Gibbons, why in the world are you involving x's and y's in this? Let me tell you why. Because they have to be the same. 3 times 3 equals 9. That means the square root of 9 equals 3. 4 times 4 equals 16. So that means the square root of 16 equals 4. 12 times 12 equals 144. That means the square root of 144 is 12. See, this is the same. 12 is the same as 12. 3 is the same as 3. 4 is the same as 4. X is the same as X. Now watch this. 8 times 8 equals 64, which means the square root of 64 equals 8. But also 32 times 2 equals 64. But these are different. See, over here in my formula, I have x times x. It's the same, 8 times 8. But x times y, those are two different things. If I have two different numbers, that doesn't make a square root. Square roots have to be the same number. 7 times 7 equals 49. That means the square root of 49 equals 7. And these will get easier and easier for you. You'll get really quick at it. Like if I ask you, what is the square root of 36? The square root of 36, you should just know that's 6. Because 6 times 6 is 36. What is the square root of 16? The square root of 16 is 4, because 4 times 4 is 16. That's square roots. Now we're going to talk about cube roots. Cube roots have the same symbol, but they have a little 3 right here. The cube root of 27. That means x times x times x equals 27. How do we do this, Mrs. Givens? I tell you how we do it. We memorize it. 3 times 3 times 3 equals 27, right? 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 3 is 27. They're really easy. All you need to memorize is 1 through 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Watch how easy this is. 1 times 1 times 1 is what? 1. 2 times 2 times 2. Well, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. 3 times 3 times 3, we just did that, 27. 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 4 is, 16 times 4 is 64. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5 is 125. You're all 13 years old, and you should be able to do those really, really quickly in your head. If you can't do this really, really quickly in your head, then you need to practice your times tables, okay? And I mean that very seriously, in my sweetest, kindest, most loving, gentle Mrs. Givens voice. If you couldn't do this very, very quickly in your head, I really want you to practice your multiplication, okay? Now we get into the ones that are a little bit more challenging. Oh, what am I doing? That's supposed to be 8. 10 times 10, but we can do 10 times 10 times 10. 10 times 10 is what? 100. And 100 times 10 is 1,000. So really, you've got 4 that you need to work on memorizing. And I was so kind, I have the answers for you right here. 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. 7 times 7 times 7 is 343. 8 times 8 times 8 is 512. And 9 times 9 times 9 is 729. You really need to memorize these. It's not just for my class. When you get on to algebra next year, you're going to need to know cube roots. When you move on to other maths, you need to know cube roots. Just like how when you were, 9 years old, maybe 8 or 9 years old, your teachers made you memorize your times tables. 6 times 6 is, 6 times 7 is, 6 times 8 is, and you just had to memorize those. And then nobody ever really, I don't know if anybody ever really checked to see if you had those memorized before. You were just expected to know them. And now that you're in my class and you're 13, I expect you to know your multiplication. It's the same thing with these cube roots. No teacher's ever going to drill you on these again. No, but you're not going to be like 16 years old and some teacher's going to say, what's the cube root of 512? But they're going to expect you to know it. It's going to come up in a math problem, and they're just going to expect you to know it. So this is how we would find the exponents. So if I give you the cube root of 343, you already have it memorized, and you know that's 7. If I say, what is the cube root of 729, you know that's 9. That's it. That's what you need to do. You need to memorize these. These up here should be pretty easy. If I say, what's the cube root of 125, you should be able to quickly figure out that that's 5. Now, one more quick thing. I'm going to give you in simple terms, 3 times 5 equals 15. This means 3 times 5, right? 3 multiplied by 5. And if I do 3x equals 15, you know we're multiplying these. This is 3 times x. So if I say 3 times the square root of 64, I know it looks intimidating, but it's not. We're just multiplying. What's the square root of 64? X times x equals 64. X is 8, right? So it's just 3 times 8 equals 24. It's just, all it is something that looks complicated that doesn't have to be complicated at all. Let's say 5 times the square root of 4 plus 8 times the square root of 49 equals. Well, what's the square root of 4? X times x equals 4. What times x? That's 2. So this is just 5 times 2 plus, what's the square root of 49? X times x equals 49, 7. So this is 8 times 7 equals, and it's super easy. You can do that. Okay. I trust you can do that math, so I'm going to show you some more. How about 5 times the square root of 64 divided by 2 times the square root of 36. That's easy. This is 5 times, what is x plus x equals 64? That's 5 times 8. 5 times 8 over x times x equals 36, so that's 6. 2 times 6. 5 times 8 is 40. 2 times 6 is 12. Now we can simplify. I see 2 goes into each one of those. 2 goes into 40 20 times. 2 goes into 12 6 times. There we go. Oh, wait, that's not simplified. 2 more. 2 goes into 20 10 times. 2 goes into 6 3 times. 10 over 3. And then we would really simplify it even further. How many times does 3 go into 10? 3 times. There we go, 1/3. This is so simple. Look, 5 times the square root of 64 divided by 2 times the square root of 36. I get it, that looks terrifying. But don't let it frighten you. Don't let it do that to you. Just simplify it. Let's do another one. Let's say 3 times the cube root of 729 over 4 times the square root of 16. Ah, did it give it? It looks so scary. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be scary. This is 3 times whatever x times x times x equals 729 over 3 times, gonna put a little question mark here because we don't know what that is. 3 times, there's no 3 here, so this is just the square root. X times x equals 16. Solve for x. Alrighty. This is 9. The cube root of 729 is 9 because we memorized that. 3 times 9. The square root of 16 is 4 because 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 4. 3 times 9 is 27. 4 times 4 is 16. And then we would want to simplify that. So we're gonna, how many times will 16 go into 27? 1 time. 11 over 16. All right, let's do one more. 2 times the cube root of 27 plus 3 times the square root of 144. Well, the cube root of 27 is 3, because we've got that memorized. 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27. 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. 2 times 3. Plus, the square root of 144 is 12. 12 times 12 is 144. 3 times 12. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 12 is 36. 36 plus 6 is 42. So look at how easy we made it. 2 times the cube root of 27 plus 3 times the square root of 144 is 42. The whole point of math, just in case no one's ever told you this before, math is just about simplifying things. It's just about making it look easier. This question right here looks kind of scary. I mean, even at my age and as a math teacher, it's a little intimidating. And all we do is we make it easier and easier and easier until we can solve it. Also, just in case you're one of those students that thinks that you're never going to need math, why do I have to learn math? It's because when I teach you math, I'm teaching you how to solve problems. Because you're always going to run into problems in your life, whether they have to do with numbers or words. You're going to have problems in your life. And math class helps you think about, how can I make my problem easier and easier and easier? How can I make my problem go away? That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to make our problem go away. Well, that's how we do this. You need to be able to take something that looks challenging like this and turn it into a baby problem like this. And it's simple to do. Okay, I hope that you guys understood everything. And if there was anything you didn't understand, I promise, once again, I've said this before, I will make you your own personal video just for you. All you need to do is send me a message and say, Mrs. Givens, I didn't understand. Tell me what you didn't understand, and I'll make it easier for you. Okay, bye guys.